Ready? Hello, my name is Tyler Tipton, GM here at Springdale Tractor of Tulsa. I wanted to go over a few different tractor models and why there's so many tractors within that 25 to 40 horsepower range, and why some of the reasons you might go from one tractor to the next, and go over some of the features that each tractor has and some options that you could get with them. The first one I've got is the L2501 Hydrostat. This has got R4 tires on it, which is going to give you a little bit more stability than the traditional ag tire, but you still get the lugs on the side where you can pull you out of it a hole. Some of the benefits of our subcompact tractor is it's Kubota from top to bottom. Kubota come into the U.S. market with under 40 horsepower machines. This is their bread and butter. This is what they're proud of here. And a couple things to point out is a skid steer quick attach. Okay, so any implement that's got a skid steer quick attach, you're going to be able to fit 95% of the implements that are out there. You could get this. It's not proprietary, so you could go aftermarket, or if you got a brother or cousin or a neighbor or something like that that's got an implement they're not using anymore, you could put it on this machine. Now, with the Kubota loader, the functions of the control valve are a lot smoother, so you can lift and curl and dump all at the same time. You just put it in the corner and it works all in one unison. You get on other tractors and you try to do that, you're going to notice it's going to put priority to either the boom or the bucket. It's only going to do one function at a time, so you're inching at it as opposed to doing it all in one unison. And the reason for that is most manufacturers outsource the loader or they outsource the engine. Kubota, you don't have to worry about that. So long-term reliability and parts availability, you're going to be able to find the parts for this. Now, a 25 horse tractor, this L2501, reasons you might get a hydrostat over a gear drive is gear drive is good for if you're just mainly doing brush hogging and you're going one speed, one direction. It's great. It's tried and true. It's going to do what you need it to do. But if you're doing a lot of loader work, the reasons for a hydrostat is, I'll show you here, it makes life a whole lot easier whenever you're going to do the lower work, because you got this treadle pedal here where you just heel and toe, which makes it a lot simpler whenever you're backing in and out of a dirt pile, right? So the lift capacity on this is about 800, 900 pounds all the way to the top, and down at the bottom, you're talking about 1700-ish, 1800 down there at the breakout bottom. Now, when looking at specs and loader specs on these machines, when you're comparing them to different manufacturers, Kubota will actually measure their lift capacity from the bucket. Okay, so that's a true lift capacity of what this machine is capable of doing, as to where most manufacturers will do it at the pin, just because you can produce a higher number based off of the leverage, but you're never going to lift anything from the hinge pin, right? The control valve, like I said, it's easy to operate. You can do it all in one corner. It's also easy to disconnect, so if you need to unhook the loader, you're able to do that with this machine. And with this machine, you've also got heavy axles, right? So there's some loaders out there that actually have a higher lift capacity than the axle itself can handle, right? You don't have to worry about that. It's got a 5-inch axle on there, as opposed to most units this size are about 3 inches. And if you notice, the turning linkage is in front of it. Well, it's it's higher than the actual axle itself. So that 5-inch axle can take a lot more of a beating than you would say, a turning linkage would, right? So it allows the tractor to take that beating in the axle. So if you hit a rock or a stump out of somewhere or something like that, it's going to be able to take a little bit more of a beating. And this system is a bevel gear system, so it's sitting like this, where it can turn on itself a lot tighter and give you that tight turning radius. Now, it does have the dual brake, so if you wanted to steer a little bit tighter, you're able to do that. But really, on these newer machines, you don't have to do that. Now, I'm going to show you one more reason why you might go with the Kubota over some other manufacturers, is the rear end here. It's a little bit heavier duty. It's a casting as opposed to aluminum. So you're going to be able to take more of a beating and have more stability whenever you're using that loader, right? Now, if you're doing a bunch of loader work, we highly recommend either doing fluid in the tires or rear wheel weights. Either one will work, but you want to ballast that tractor to be able to handle whatever you're picking up, and you're going to get a lot more stability out of it. Now, people ask, why would I go from the 25 horse to the 33 horse or the 39 horse, right? There's 3 different models in this unit. All of them you can get in standard or hydrostat, but the reasons you might jump up to 33 horse, right? So if you're doing more brush hogging, you're doing more PTO work, you might want that little extra horsepower to be more productive and efficient, right? If you're only doing loader work, you're just maintaining your road, box blade and things of that nature, then yeah, you might not need the 33 or the 39 horse machine. Now, why jump up from the 33 to 39, 6 horsepower? Well, it's only about a $2,000 difference between the 3301 and the 3901. So if you're doing some heavy duty brush hogging, you're not going to kick yourself spending that extra money to have that extra PTO horsepower to be able to do the job. Now, traditionally in the past, a gear drive's always going to have more PTO horsepower than a hydrostat, right? Well, on these, Kubota has made them so efficient that you only lose 1 horsepower of PTO between the hydrostat and the gear drive. Now, if you're doing a little bit of both, let's say you're doing a little bit of loader work and you're brush hogging, right? We talked about the gear drive being a little bit better for brush hogging. You could put a cruise control on that and fix your problem, right? That way you're going one speed, going one direction, and be able to have the best of both worlds of that treadle pedal design and having the cruise control for whenever you're brush hogging, right? So on the 3301, I'm going to show you there's really no difference between the 25 and the 33. The main difference is the throttle control. You know, you can do it with your hand here, as where the 2501's a bigger lever. And then also on the gear drive of the 3301 and the 3901 has what's called Synchro Shuttle. So the gear drive, you're able to switch directions without having to come to a complete stop, as where a 2501 you would have to do that, right? But other than that, really not a whole lot of difference. You got the position valve to where once you have your implement, you know where you want, you can lock it out and be able to go to that every time, as opposed to a quartering valve, which most manufacturers put on these size machine, right? On the hydrostat, you get 3 ranges of speed as opposed to 2, so it's a little bit more customizable whenever you're using this machine. Now, there's also another tractor over here. This is the LX. It's a 33 horse. So as you can see, this tractor here and this tractor here are the exact same horsepower, right? But this one's a little bit smaller frame. So why buy this one over this one, right? So some of the advantages of this one, and it depends on your application, right? Everything on buying a tractor depends on your application. Don't go after horsepower. It's all about your application, right? So this one here has a mid PTO, as to where the standard L's do not. Right, so the mid PTO, so if you got a sweeper, you're cleaning up a parking lot, if you got a mower deck that you want to put underneath there, you could do 54, 60-inch mower decks. If you're on, you know, finished product, right, you're on finished lawn around your house, you don't want to tear up the grass as bad, this is a little bit lighter unit, right? Now, what's funny about this is the lift capacity is actually the same. Why is that? Okay, so this one will only lift about 7 feet. This one will lift about 8 feet, right? So the measurements of where those lift capacitors are taken, the 800, 900 pounds is all the way at the top, just like this one is. Well, the leverage at 6, if you put them at the same height, this one actually lifts more. It's just where the specs are measured from, right? So the breakout force on this one is about 1,700 pounds, 1,700 pounds down there at the bottom. But you still have the advantages of the skid steer quick attach, right? This is a 5-foot bucket. That's a 66-inch bucket. So you're not going to get as much material, mulch, dirt, rock, whatever you're putting out as this one is. But you do get the mid PTO and a little bit lighter rear end. So around finished products, you don't have to worry about tearing it up as bad. Now, the platform on the LX is a little bit nicer, okay? The standard L is just a standard tractor. You know, there's not a whole lot of bells and whistles, just reliable tractor, right? This one, you got a nicer seat that comes with the armrest. You've also got the steering wheel that makes it easy in and out exit and get it exactly where you want it, as where the standard L is a fixed steering wheel. It still has the treadle pedal design, but it has a little bit nicer platform with the rubber floor mats, the adjustable steering wheel. Your four-wheel drive's over here at the platform where it's just on your right-hand side. You still got the 3 ranges of speed. And and then you have your PTO settings. So whether if you just want to run the rear PTO, the mid PTO, or both the rear and the mid PTO, you're able to do that at the same time, right? So reasons of why buying this. Okay, you might only be taking care of your 5 acres or something like that, but most of it is well-maintained lawn, or you're putting in your garden. You don't need a real heavy tractor, but you need a tractor heavy enough to be able to lift, that landscaping rock for, your path to your greenhouse or something like that. You know what I'm saying? There's all these different applications I could come up with, but the mid PTO is the biggest advantage of this, and then the little bit extra bells and whistles also makes it nice. Now, let's talk about, you start moving round bells, right? Technically, these will pick up a round bell, okay? But it's not going to be all that stable, because your average round bell is going to weigh around 1,200 pounds. It's going to vary depending on how big of a round bell, but that's a good number, okay? The 4701 is the first tractor we start selling to start moving round bells on a regular basis, right? Now, if you're a full-blown farm operation and that's all it's doing all day, every day, then you might consider it a different tractor. You might go up a tractor to something like the MX or the M5660. But if you're using moving round bells, this unit will do it. Lift capacity at the bottom is about 2,500 pounds, all the way to the top is about 1,200 pounds, and the lifting height is 9 feet. So the 25, 33, 39, they're all at about 8 feet, okay? The LX is about 7 feet. So reasons of why you would go up to here. Lift capacity is a little bit more, right? You got call it 1,200 top, 2,500 at the bottom, 800, 900 at the top, 1,700 on these, right? This one here is going to be a bigger frame. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger size tractor, so it's going to have a bigger frame, heavier machine to be able to handle bigger implements, right? These implements here that you want to put on the back of it, 5 feet, right? The 3901 and 3301 are technically rated for a 6-foot cutter, but I don't recommend it. You want to overpower your implement, right? You don't want to put too big of an implement on the back, or the tractor is not going to perform. So this tractor, you can start putting a 6-foot cutter on the rear end. You got more lift capacity, you got more lift height on this machine. This is a great tractor and great option once you start getting into a little bit bigger acreage or small farm operations, right? The only differences between, as far as the setup goes, is the axles. You got a guard in front of those front turning linkages, so you got a little bit extra protection as opposed to the other units. And just like the other ones, all the hydraulic lines are ran on the inside, where you don't have to worry about tree branches or anything like that getting it. You could still take the loader off. You've got a little bit bigger set of tires, so you got a little bit more stability on this machine. It's a 47 horsepower machine, so it jumps up quite a bit, right? So you got the 25, 33, 39, and then on the LX, you got the 26 horse and the 33 horsepower machine. This one jumps up to 4701, bigger tractor, bigger frame, and bigger loader. Now, the differences on this is, like, for example, this is what the cruise control looks like. So you got your 3 ranges of speed, and then you got your cruise control there. So if you're doing brush hog and things of that nature, you could just push that and be able to set it exact speed that you need it to. If you have any more questions, this is a broad overview of these tractors, and there's more than going into buying a tractor than watching a video. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at 918-224-1565, or come see us off Route 66 in Tulsa, springdaletractor.com. Thank you.